Gold just hit record highs again. And if you scroll through your feed right now, you'll see it. People queuing outside gold shops, proudly posting photos of bars, coins, and chains. News anchors calling it the smartest move of 2025. Even friends who never talk about money are suddenly experts. You start hearing the same line everywhere. You have to buy gold. Prices are going up. And maybe somewhere inside, you feel that small spark of panic, the what if I miss out moment. It's that same voice that whispered during the property boom, during crypto's rise, during every can't lose moment in financial history. But here's what most people don't see. The moment everyone starts chasing safety is the moment safety disappears. And gold is not rising because the world is doing well, it's rising because fear is. Chapter 1: The Psychology of FOMO Disguised as Logic. Let's be honest, nobody admits to buying out of FOMO. We call it diversifying. We say it's a hedge against inflation. We convince ourselves we're being rational. But if we're really being rational, why does the urge to buy gold always peak when it's most expensive? Why do we feel urgency only when everyone else does? That's not logic, that's emotion wrapped in justification. The truth is, we don't buy because we understand gold. We buy because we fear being left behind. Because deep down, we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than right and alone. That's the psychology every smart investor understands, and every emotional investor repeats. FOMO isn't about greed, it's about insecurity disguised as intelligence, and the system rewards it every cycle. Chapter 2: Price versus Value. Here's the biggest misunderstanding about gold. People think when the price goes up, their wealth grows too. But price isn't value, it's emotion measured in numbers. Let's say 20 years ago, 1 ounce of gold could buy you 1 cow. Today, that same ounce, despite all the price increases, still buys you 1 cow. So what changed? Not the gold, not the cow, only the currency between them. That's the illusion of price. We see a chart going up and think we're richer, when in reality, we're just measuring the same thing with a weaker ruler. Gold didn't gain value, money lost it. And people celebrate that like it's good news. That's why the wealthy never confuse price with power. They know gold doesn't create wealth, it preserves it at best. Real wealth isn't in the metal, it's in the movement between assets, knowing when to hold, when to rotate, and when to let go. Chapter 3: How the Rich Actually Play the Game. Here's the part no one tells you on TV. The wealthy don't buy gold because it's safe. They buy gold because they understand cycles. Every asset class, stocks, property, commodities, moves in cycles of value. When one becomes overvalued, they move to what's undervalued. Not emotionally, but strategically. The Rothschilds, for example, a family whose wealth has lasted over 200 years, mastered this art. They didn't just hold assets. They shifted them from gold to property, from property to bonds, from bonds to equities, always following the rhythm of undervaluation and overvaluation. It's not luck, it's awareness. They understood that gold shines brightest when the world feels darkest. And when everyone starts chasing that light, it's time to quietly step away. They don't buy when the news is loud, they buy when the world forgets. And they sell when everyone starts calling it smart. That's the real game, and most people never even realize they're playing it backwards. Chapter 4: The Real Role of Gold. So if gold isn't for getting rich, what is it for? It's for stability, not growth. Think of it as your financial seatbelt. It won't make your car faster, but it'll protect you when the road gets rough. You hold some gold to balance your exposure, not to brag about your profits. Because gold doesn't pay dividends. It doesn't create cash flow. It just sits there, reflecting the world's confidence level. That's why the real players don't see gold as a trophy, they see it as a signal. When gold rises, they don't celebrate, they observe. They start looking for where value is leaving gold and entering the next opportunity. That's the difference between chasing and strategizing. Chapter 5: The Emotional Cycle of Smart Investing. Every time the market gets euphoric, people tell themselves, this time it's different. But human emotion hasn't changed in centuries. We still want to belong. We still seek certainty in numbers. We still chase what others validate. That's why the crowd buys gold at peaks. They're not buying metal, they're buying reassurance, a feeling of safety, a sense of being on the right side. And yet, the same crowd always leaves late. They exit when fear becomes exhaustion and enter again when confidence becomes noise. That's not investing, that's emotional repetition. The rich know that pattern. They don't fight it. They simply position themselves where the emotion will flow next. That's how they stay calm when others panic and patient when others rush. Chapter 6: The Price of Ignorance. Here's a hard truth: the market doesn't punish ignorance immediately, it punishes it slowly over decades. Every time you act from fear, you lose a small piece of your financial power. When you buy gold because everyone else is, you're not buying safety, you're buying someone else's exit liquidity. And you'll justify it the whole way down, telling yourself it's long term, while quietly waiting for validation from the next news cycle. That's why financial freedom isn't just about making money, it's about mastering emotion. Because money without awareness is just another form of slavery. Chapter 7: How to Play the Gold Game Intelligently. So, how should you actually use gold? Understand its relationship, not its hype. Gold and stocks move opposite over long cycles. When equities crash, gold rises. When confidence returns, gold stabilizes. Gold and real estate share another rhythm. When interest rates rise, property weakens, and gold often becomes the emotional refuge. And silver is gold's volatile cousin. It moves faster, falls deeper, but can offer leverage when timed well. The wealthy don't see these assets as rivals, they see them as seasons. Each plays its part in the larger financial climate. Their goal isn't to predict the future, it's to read the weather. They don't worship gold or stocks or property, they simply rotate awareness from confidence to caution, from fear to opportunity. That's the secret to growing wealth without losing yourself in the noise. Chapter 8: The Mirror Moment. So maybe this isn't really a video about gold. Maybe it's about you, about how you react when the crowd gets loud, about the way you rationalize emotion and call it strategy. When you buy something just because it feels safe, that's not intelligence. That's insecurity wearing a suit. True intelligence isn't about avoiding fear, it's about understanding it, seeing it in yourself, in the market, in the headlines. Because once you can see it, you can step aside and make decisions calmly, like the ones who've played this game for centuries. Final truth: gold is not wealth. Gold is a reflection of where wealth is hiding. When prices rise, it's not gold that changed, it's the world around it losing confidence. So don't worship it. Understand it, use it, but never let it use you. Because the real gold isn't the metal you hold, it's the awareness you build. And that's what the system can never inflate. Get the Money Mirror playbook now on Shopify, link in the description. It's not just about learning money, it's about learning yourself. Understand how the wealthy think in cycles, not moments. Learn how emotion drives value and how clarity compounds wealth. Because the system doesn't need you to be broke, it needs you to be predictable. And awareness is the only way out. The mirror never lies. The question is, are you ready to look into it?